Patient ownership in HVMS is used to keep track of who is financially responsible for a patient. This video will cover how to properly update past patient ownership in cases where the ownership history may need to change. Patient ownership must be set at the time a patient is created and can be any combination of ownership percentages so long as they add up to 100%. Ownership can be changed at any point in time to reflect a current or historical change in ownership. When a user makes a change to the patient ownership through the Ownership tab, that sets the ownership as the current ownership and creates an entry for that patient ownership in the history. There may still be entries in the history that are inaccurate after changing the current ownership. If you believe the patient ownership has incorrect history, you can view and alter that history by clicking on the Past Ownership tab. The purpose of the Past Ownership tab is to show changes to the patient ownership over time. You can remove incorrect ownership entries that should not be on the ownership history and update the owners and dates involved in past ownership entries. In this example, the owner of this patient called and told us that the patient ownership should have been a 50-50 split. We've already updated the current patient ownership to the split. To correct this for past ownership, we will remove the incorrect ownership entry that has only Matthew Norton at 100% ownership. Start by clicking the Edit icon in the upper right-hand corner. Single-click on Matthew's ownership entry at 100%, click the red X icon, and confirm Yes in the window that displays. Single-click on the correct ownership entry, then click the Setup icon. In the window that displays, update the entry date to the start of this patient's ownership. Click OK to save. Since you are changing past ownership, Windows will display, allowing you the opportunity to change invoice ownership within this time frame. In this case, we do not wish to change past invoice ownership. If there are other past ownerships that should have been in the history, you can use the yellow plus sign to add past ownership entries. It is important to note that the most recent ownership on ownership history must match the current ownership on the patient record. That concludes our video on changing past patient ownership in HVMS. Thank you for taking the time to watch this instructional video.